In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the crankshaft pulley on this Cadillac Escalade. Let's get into it. Remove the engine cover, just grab underneath, lift it up, and slide it out. On the side, there's a hose right here. You just want to pull that out. Using a 8mm socket, we're going to loosen up the band clamp right here, over here. Before we take that off, underneath here, there's a retainer holding the hoses. Just use a trim tool, just pop that off. You can slide the snorkel off. In the back, we're just going to lift up, slide it out, and it comes right out. We're going to take the belt off. Use a 15mm wrench, or you can use a serpentine belt tool. Just take the tension off the tensioner, slide the belt off. You can loosen up the tensioner, and just slide the belt off. We're going to remove this lower shield. Use a 15mm socket. Take these bolts out. And slide the shield down. Use a pry bar, get at the top. Try to pry it inward a little bit. And with a 24mm socket, I'm just going to turn the crank and just try to get the belt behind the crank pulley. There we go. And that's how you get it off. We're going to remove the crank pulley. Use a 24mm socket. Take the bolt out. There it goes. Take that out. With a crankshaft pulley removal tool, a 3-jaw puller that works. Get that lined up. Make sure you support it once you get close to the end. And there we go. Pop that off. That's part of the tool. Now we're going to install the pulley. You're going to need a harmonic balance pulley installer. It works for this vehicle. You want to thread in the center. We'll get that started. And we'll tighten this down. As we tighten it, it's going to pull the pulley in. All right. It's all the way down. We're going to loosen it up. Take the tool out. Just to seat it, we're going to take the old bolt and tighten that down. Now we can take the old bolt out. In the event that you're replacing the crank bolt without removing the pulley, you do not need to remove the belts. Just take the old bolt out, put the new bolt in, and torque it. Take the new crankshaft bolt, get that started. Snug that down. And you want to torque this to 110 foot-pounds. And you want to keep this from spinning. So if you have a way to hold the pulley from spinning, there is special tools to hold the pulley. You can do that. On the transmission, on the bell housing, there's a little cover right here. Just use a straight blade screwdriver, pop that off. You can see where the teeth are for the flywheel. What you can do is take a pry bar, put a pry bar in there, just like that. While your pry bar is in there, you can have someone else hold this if you need to. You want to torque that to 110 foot-pounds. After that, you want to loosen it. Now we're going to torque this to 59 foot-pounds, again holding the flywheel from spinning. And then if you have a torque angle meter, you want to go an additional 125 degrees. If not, do the best you can. Maybe you want to mark a socket and then just go 125 degrees with that. Or mark the bolt. You can always mark the bolt as well. Good right there. Take this cover, line this up, push it back in place. Take the belt, you're going to go over the crank on the back side. You can have it started on the top and go over the AC compressor. And there is special tools you can use, but sometimes it's easier to just get it to line up and work it on. Now with the belt in this position, with it started at the top of the crank pulley, you can use special tools. There is different tools you can use, but what we're going to do is take a wire tie. Just go around the crank pulley. Oops. Make sure it goes around the belt. You want to pay attention to the belt down here because you don't want it coming off the AC compressor. Just turn the crank. You see it's starting to come off down here. Just use a pry bar. The balancing act a little bit. There we go. That's on. Make sure it's all the way around, which it is. Now we can cut the wire ties. That's how you get the stretch belt on. Now I'll put the shield on, take the bolts, get those started. And snug those down. Take the belt, we're going to go over the alternator pulley, down to the power steering pump. Then it's going to come up over the water pump. Then we'll go down to the crank pulley. And over to the tensioner. Should sit there pretty good. Then we're gonna hold the belt because we have to get under the idler. Take your wrench or tensioner tool, take the tension off the tensioner and just slide it under the idler pulley. And then double check all the pulleys, make sure it's going around. That looks good. And put the snorkel on, get this lined up, go over the throttle body, slide that on, that in place. Slide it onto the airbox. Oops. Snug these down. Attach the hose, make sure it's seated. Resecure the retainer under here. Put the cover on. Slide that in place and just push it down.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.